Well, I promised you we'd be back up here at the old house and go on a little tour inside. It is junky. We've been using it for storage, I think. I know we have, and you can tell that when we get inside. But anyway, we'll just see, and I'll tell about how some of the old days was and things, and we'll see what we can find. And we'll go meddling, as my mother used to say. Jerry, are you in there meddling? Well, we don't have to worry about the lock in the door, about the key being in the door, because it's back in those days anyway. And so we go inside, and we don't have the original table anymore that we used to have. It was one of those old yellow tables that had the little designs in it, like the lines like a boomerang. And so it's not here to show you, but it was a very popular table back in those days. And the kitchen here, I remember a lot of good meals. The main thing was my daddy was a better cook than my mother was, but back in those days, there was no sandwiches for lunch. There was a full meal for lunch. Every woman cooked a meal for lunch. And if you had anybody working for you, if we had guys here on the farm, guys pulling corn, whatever, we stopped and had a full meal. Even places that I would work at, they'd have you come in and eat with them. But that's the thing of the past. And most people don't eat a full meal for lunch anymore. And which is a good thing, because they're probably not burning up much energy like we did back in those days. But we didn't have sandwiches back then. And I'm on right here. It's a mess. And let's see what we got here. Oh my goodness. You know what this is? This is my Tommy Tippy sippy cup. It was weighted in the bottom, and so it wouldn't turn over. That was mine. So that's been around a while, that's for sure. And let's see. In here was the dining room, and we have this china closet. The good china is out of it now. This is just some other. My daddy went to Germany and worked on a pipeline job over there. My mother was a simple woman. She didn't like a lot of fancy stuff. She didn't need it, didn't have to have it, but she did always want some dishes. And so when my daddy was working in Germany, he bought her, here's a few pieces of it. The big pieces, the serving trays and things like that, it's been moved to another place. But a few plates that are left over are like this one right here, china. She really looked forward to it coming. I mean, it had everything. It had the platters, had the big pitchers you pour out of it, and about every 4 or 5 days she'd get a package from China, from Germany, and just be tickled to death. Now this is our old couch right here. Everybody had one of these back in the day. I'm sure your grandma did, or you did. And this old couch was very popular. Had a matching chair that went with it. This chair here. And I'll have to say they were pretty comfortable. And there was another lounge easy chair right there that my dad sat in. And in this old chair here. And I got my hat on, but I'm in a house that's really nobody's private residence anymore. But I'll get a comment about that. I would lay here on this old chair and change the TV. I was the remote back in those days. We just had a black and white for a long time. But actually, sorry about the camera movement, we didn't have a TV until I was like 10 or 11 years old. I was in the 5th grade when we got a TV. My daddy didn't see no need in having a TV, and we wouldn't have had one then if he hadn't worked on a job in Colorado, Colorado Springs, Colorado. And he worked up there and stayed at a motel, the Spruce Lodge, which is not even there anymore. And he got hooked on Leave It to Beaver. And when he come home from that pipeline job, him and my brother, they went together and bought a TV. And till then, he didn't think we needed one, but he got hooked on that. And you know, back in those days, I'm telling you, TV was so much different. I've got a TV, and like they say, I got 150 channels on there. And I flipped through there the other night, and I couldn't find a thing, and I turned it off. And like a lot of people, I looked at YouTube for a while. And you can pick out just exactly what you want to watch on that, what you're interested in. And some of that mess on the TV these days is crazy. And so, but back then we had 3 channels, 3, 6, and 12, which ours was ABC, NBC, CBS. You knew exactly what shows was coming on. There was I Love Lucy, Lawrence Welk, The Rifleman, Wagon Train, Paladin, just all those good old family shows, Daddy, Father Knows Best, Leave It to Beaver, all them. And you know which, Ed Sullivan, and you knew which, when it was coming on, it was a routine. It was the same thing over and over and over. You knew so-and-so night, that was going to be on. So you're sitting here watching TV, that finishes, and it's, hey, Jerry, change the channel to channel 6. So-and-so's fixing to come on. And that's the way TV was back in those days. And so anyway, all right, I'm going to take you down the hall. And, of course, there's this is just where the old telephone used to be, on the wall here. And I say on the wall, yes, the telephones back in those days, you give them a crank. It was a party line. It was a party line, and there was about 6, 7, 8 people maybe on our party line. And so you'd pick it up to make a phone call and somebody be on it. Our number was 37F11. That meant our ring was a long and a short. It was a one long ring, one short ring, and we knew it was us. Some other people's would be 2 longs, 2 shorts, 3 shorts, whatever. And you'd know who was coming or who was calling. No, you wouldn't know who was calling till you answered the phone. I'm sorry. I'll probably just cut that out. But anyway, so the funny thing was, one time I called my uncle, and we had call forwarding back there in those days, believe it or not. I called my uncle, and my grandfather answered, and I said, "Grandfather?" I said, "I was calling Uncle Joe." He said, "Well, he's sitting right here." What I done was, I called I got a hold of the operator. Her name was Mabel, and her sister was Mavis. They're the ones that put the lines in. Mavis actually laid the lines and hooked them from tree to tree, and if she had to, she'd put up a pole and have the telephone line hooked onto it. And then Mabel, she run the switchboard, and it was like something out of Hee Haw. You walk in, and the door was open. It was an old train depot that they lived in and had the switchboard in. And it was big and tall. It was a big old tall thing. And all the cords and plugs they'd put out and connect you to so-and-so. And they're liable to be a rooster right up on top, and a hen over there in the chair. You couldn't ever tell. There was chickens. They had them all over the place. They were in there with a telephone switchboard. And that was quite a deal. So you'd ring the phone and they would answer. And so she had been listening in when my uncle called, or my grandpa called my uncle and said, "Hey, come eat supper." And so he did. So went up there. So when I called my uncle, she just connected me with where he went to. So it was like call forwarding. And as far as the messaging service, I would call, I would get in from school. If my mother wasn't here, I'd just ring the phone, and she, Ms. Mabel would answer, and she'd say, "Jerry, your mother had to take your grandmother to town. She said just wait there. She'd be back in a little bit." So pretty fancy telephone service for back then, with messaging service and call forwarding. And then the old bathroom here, I got one funny story about it. 30, 40 years ago, me and my wife was up here, and we found a shoebox full of toothpaste caps. And we made fun of my mother and picked at her about it. And we go, why you need so many toothpaste caps? And she said, I might lose one sometime. And we made fun of her. But you know what happened? About a week ago, I lost my toothpaste cap down the sink and it didn't catch on the little strainer. It went right on down. And I go, you know what? I wish I had one of Mother's toothpaste caps that she saved. We ended up throwing them things away after she passed away when we cleaned out the house one time. But anyway, this is going on down the hall. And let me see, there's nothing up in there, just a couple of old coats and things. And oh my goodness, look at here. I've been doing hat deals, and said I wish I had one of my dad's old hats, but look at that. It is eat up. The band's out of it, but hey, that's the one I remember him wearing. I gotta put that thing up before something happens to it. As a matter of fact, I don't remember ever seeing it here. And I do remember seeing this in here one time. Oh, could you look at that thing? What a mess. That is so old. But yeah, that one right there was probably the last one. The last one he had. And he's been gone several years. But see what I was talking about the cattleman's crease? That's all he ever wore, was that kind of crease like that right there. And I don't even see the name in this and no more. That's all gone. But I'm gonna take that, put that up, brush it off, put that up and save it so other things don't keep eating on it. I'm so glad to find out that is funny. I like that. That's cool. And anyway, so all right, so go in my mother's room, and oh my, what a mess. Anyway, you see that? That's a TV case right there. I put that together. I made a shelf for that in there out of an old TV case for Ag Project. Oh my, this place is a mess. There's a picture of my mother and dad right there. That's my mother and dad, and she had finally got her a dresser. She had her dresser right there, an old dresser we got. But the funny thing about that, about that dresser is one time after me and my wife had been married about 20 years and new house and things, or finally got a new house. And but after a few years, she goes, "We need new furniture." I go, "New furniture? What do we need new furniture for? This furniture still works good." And she's like, "No, I'm ready for a change. I want some new furniture." And I'm like, "We don't need no new furniture." I said, "Tricia, my mother, for a dresser drawer, she used a thing my daddy built her. It was out of 2 apple crates standing on their end, and he put some boards across the top, and she took flour sacks and a feed string and put across the front and sewed them flour sacks and made her a curtain to cover it up." And I said, "She used that for 50 years. My wife looked at me and she says, "I ain't your mama." Guess what I done though? Well, shoot. Next morning we went to town and bought new furniture. That's what we done. I knew not to mess with her. But anyway, so all right. So this was my old room in here. And of course, it's just a mess. Like I said, but some of this stuff has been moved out since I was here the other day. They're starting to like clean it up and move it around. And what we got over here? I've gone through a lot of this stuff here, but things have been moved around. Here's old Horseman magazine my daddy got. And what's the date on that? Oh, that's fairly new. That ain't but 1988 right there. And so what's this right here? Some old checks and things. Oh my goodness. Purina Dog Chow, 5 pound free. P.O. Box, Mascoutah, Illinois. My mother was a procrastinator sometimes. Oh my goodness. Oh, what we got. Look at here. It says Purina free 5 pound dog bag, a bag offer. And she wrote she wrote a note to send with it. I've got to tell you, I feed my mother dog Purina, and she had 12 puppies. I brag on this dog food all the time. Oh my goodness. That is so funny. That is so funny. I wish I had a date on this coupon here, but let's see. I don't know, but I'll read about that. But you know what I'm going to do? I am going to take this and I am going to mail it to Purina. Try to get a good address on them. Probably have to email everything these days. But I am going to take a picture of this and put that note or copy of that note and send it to Purina and see what they say. Who knows? They may give me another sack of dog food. That is so funny. Yeah, I'm going to take that and I'm going to mail it to Purina. Funny thing is, hey, I still use Purina today. I feed it to my little dog Rowdy and my big dog Pepper, the German Shepherd. But you know what? I don't know if that's a good thing, saying you feed your dog and she had 12 puppies. But if she raised them, that mama dog raised them on there, them 12 puppies, I guess it's good dog feed, ain't it? And so anyway, yeah. This was my little bedroom back in here. And I'm going to take that and I will send it off. So that's a little tour of the house here. And y'all, well, there's a bunch of bunkers and things. And so the old picture drawer, I could go through them and, no telling what all I could find in there. But anyway, but y'all have a good one. And this is what it was. This is where I was raised. The good thing about my room was I had the entrance to the attic, so I could go up there and meddling around when I wanted to be by myself. And this is putting new windows in. My brother he's fixing it on up. Well, y'all be careful. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day.